Hello, everyone. This is Aisha Harley. Welcome to our 2018 Essential Wellness Empowered Life series. This is the kickoff of our 7th year of essential oil education, and we have an amazing lineup this year. I'm so excited, and I'm especially excited by our guest today. But before I introduce you, if you are new to our community or if you're actually not part of our community, you're always welcome to join us on these webinars. And you can find us on Eventbrite at Essential Wellness. So if you keep an eye there, then we post our monthly events every month. And again, we have a great lineup. So we have a packed class. We have so much amazing information. Desiree gave this presentation on Monday, and I am still just floating and glowing from all the work that we did and all that I learned. She is a wealth of information. We met a couple of years ago, and I just fell in love with her instantly. And she shares so generously her heart and her wisdom and her expertise, and she's really just tapped in to source and lets that flow through her. Desiree has 13 years of experience being an acupuncturist, practicing Chinese medicine. She has practiced as a massage therapist and done hydrotherapy, correct? Is that right?
I did colon hydrotherapy for a while.
Hydrotherapy. So she has a whole wealth of information. So I'm going to go ahead and pass the presentation right over to her. Please, I know we can't see or hear you, but let's give a warm welcome to Desiree Mangandog. And also to make a shout out, she is a doTERRA Blue Diamond, which is a huge accomplishment. So go ahead and take it away, Desiree.
Awesome. Thank you, Aisha. Welcome to the presentation today. It is titled, I Am Empowered. My husband usually teaches with me, so today it's just me. I might briefly go over some of his parts, but really like 90% of the presentation is mine. so we're all good. So this is a healer's workshop. My background is in Chinese medicine. I started Chinese medical school at the age of 20, and I had some struggles being a healthcare provider. I was a colon hydrotherapist for a while, and then I did massage therapy for 5 years. And then after, while I was in acupuncture school, that's when I did massage. And then after I graduated, went into acupuncture practice. And the things that I dealt with as a healer, because usually healers are sensitive and they're empaths on some level, I had this tendency to absorb a lot of my patients' issues. And some days I would only treat like 3 patients, and then I would have to go take a 2-3 hour nap. And it's not like it's intense physical labor, putting needles into people and having some conversations. But at that time, I didn't quite understand how to manage my own space, how to clear out energies from my interactions with people, especially when you are doing something so intimate such as massage or acupuncture. And I didn't have healthy boundaries. And I didn't have that information in Chinese medical school. No one really taught that. And I see people burning out in these fields often. You'll see people in massage. I think the average lifespan for a massage therapist is 5 to 7 years. And even acupuncturists, many of them practice probably 5 to 10 years, and then they burn out. So if you find yourself in a healer's role, and I really classify many people as healers. I even classify estheticians and hairstylists and makeup artists and social workers and nurses and coaches, life coaches, healthcare practitioners of any kind, teachers. To me, that is all a healing profession. And because you are lifting others and supporting others and encouraging others. And in that process, you're going to have some difficult exchanges with people. And you're going to end up carrying a lot of other people's burdens with you. And I want to teach you how to prevent that from happening, as well as how to handle it when it does happen, so that you can continue on being that extraordinary healer that you are, because you know you're built for it. You're created to be a healer, and you can do this ongoing for years and decades, for however long your calling is supposed to be. So I'm going to equip you with essential oil tools today, basic essential oils, where to apply them, great combinations, what to put in the diffuser, what to make as a roller bottle blend, so that you are totally empowered as a healer. So I just spoke a little about me, but I just went early. So my name's Desiree. That's my husband, Alonto. He's not here today. He's in the Philippines right now, helping to build our teams out there. And I'm a Blue Diamond Wellness Advocate in doTERRA, going for presidential this year. I absolutely love doing this business because I'm in the business of empowerment, and I love people taking ownership and responsibility for their health. And my passion is to equip whoever I'm interacting with whatever tools they need, so they can run with it and be free. So are you tired? Let me see if I can, my picture might be cutting into the screen a little bit, but are you tired of just feeling drained and exhausted? That's, as I shared that example where I would treat just a few patients and I would struggle with extreme exhaustion. It didn't really make any physical sense for me to do so. So if doing simple tasks like, getting through your to-do list, that doesn't really take that much effort, but when you look at it, it feels like huge anchors. It feels like you are treading through mud just to do one simple errand, or to get your laundry done, or make a meal for your family. And I couldn't stand that, because I'm a doer, I'm an achiever. I love to get things done. But when I felt like I was stuck and there was no way out, even though I would rest, it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. I'd sleep 8-9 hours. It still wasn't enough. I was still exhausted. So I got tired of this. So I started playing around with essential oils a couple of years ago, when a lot of my gifts just started kicking in, and I was channeling all this great content, and I started practicing on myself. And once I did, I started seeing tremendous results and then sharing with others. So if you would like steady energy to fulfill your calling, to fulfill your mission, because I know you're watching this is important to you. You know that you have come here to this planet to make a huge difference, and to leave your mark, and to make this place better before you leave. And for me, not to fulfill my mission would be the death of my soul. And I'm sure some of you feel the same way. We're not ones who are just going to be idle and live this small life and just think about ourselves. And I really commend you for being a part of this group and being in doTERRA, because we are revolutionaries. We are change makers. And I want to make sure that you have all of the energy and the health and the stamina that you need to get your work done. So this is what we're going to go over today. One is how to manage your auric field. Okay, this is your personal space here. Second is having some awareness of the ego. 3, how to build up your tolerance. So for example, in the beginning, like when I would talk to 5-10 people about doTERRA or teaching an essential oil class, I'd be wiped out because that was a lot of energy exchanges. And then over time, my tolerance built. And then after a while, like 20-30 people teaching a training was no big deal. If I were to teach a group of 1,600 people like I did earlier this year at one of doTERRA's corporate events, a couple years ago, I wouldn't. I would have to have maybe a 2-week recovery period for that. So now I can teach to thousands and then boom, get on a plane, come home and play with my kids. So I absolutely love how you can build up your strength and your tolerance for the amount of people that you interact with some of the blends that I'm going to share with you. Number 4 is rhythm and flow, how to live in flow and within the proper rhythms of your life. And 5, strengthening your influence, because your influence is what is important to create change and to impact another person's life. So we'll dive into that deeper at the end. All right. So first, let's talk about managing your auric field. Excuse me, I had to get a little water. Now, I'm going to talk about this concept of energetic hooks. Your field around you is very sacred, and it needs to be clear and protected and taken care of and nourished. So unfortunately, a lot of people don't have proper boundaries. And now this applies to people who are not technically like sensitive, and they don't classify themselves an empath. Everybody has a field, but everybody should have healthy boundaries. When you have energetic hooks, another term for this is energetic cord. A lot of us walk around with many of these, and we're not just talking like, 3 or 4 or 5. Some people that is the case, but a lot of people walk around with hundreds, if not thousands or several thousand energetic hooks over a lifespan if they haven't been taking care of themselves properly. So this is what a hook is. When you have no boundaries, no energetic, like personal boundaries, and you have a person outside of you that is attacking you. And when I say attack, this means maybe they are being judgmental towards you, they're being critical towards you, they don't really like you, they wish harm upon you, maybe they're jealous of you or envious of you. Any kind of intention that is unloving towards you, then a cord can form from them to you. And they literally are like sucking through the cord your energy. I'm sure some of you can relate. I mean, we're all human. I've done this too. And sometimes I do it unconsciously even today. And I look at that and take care of it. But when we look at someone and we think we're better than them and we judge them or put them down, we get like this little high, like a little rush. And so that is you putting a hook on them and taking their energy, and you get a little buzz off of that. So that's why some people are very addicted to being critical and judgmental towards other human beings, or, racism, for example. Like they are literally taking energy, vital energy from them. So if you had proper boundaries, then if someone were to judge you or criticize you or not like you, and by the way, this doesn't mean they have to have an actual verbal expression of I don't like you and I wish harm upon you. They don't have to verbally say that. They can just have that strong intention in their mind, in their spirit towards you. Okay, so it's pretty sad, but a lot of people have a lot of hooks on themselves, but they also have hooks on other people. We're going to learn how to remove them today, as well as take back your own, because that's only fair and respectful. So, all right. So if you were to have proper boundaries, what would happen is, let's say a hook is coming towards you and they're trying to judge you, then what would happen is it would bounce off of your boundaries and then it would slingshot back to the original sender. And they would feel worse about themselves. They would actually have some awareness, like, why am I so mean? Why am I thinking these thoughts? It'll cause them to think twice about, how they're viewing you. So it's actually a great service for you to have boundaries so that you're not, mucking up your space, but also you help them to have more awareness of their situation and their life and their perspective. So the bigger your boundaries, the stronger they are, then when people try to judge you, it gets worse. Like the slingshot back is more intense, like it slingshots faster and it hurts more for them. So that's why some people who have celebrities, or the celebrities, for example, who have great influence, a lot of them don't have great boundaries, but the ones that do, they'll have some very intense haters right? Because those hooks slingshot back to them and create a lot of rise in or non-fans, I guess, people who don't like their work or what they're doing. So that's a whole nother topic, but I find it interesting. I really have a heart for celebrities, just people who have notoriety. And you'll find this even as you're building doTERRA too, as people rise up in ranks, and if they don't manage their space well, there's a lot of drama can grow on teams, and a lot of hurt feelings and a lot of energetic hooks, and it can get pretty messy. So especially if you're someone who is building a doTERRA business, you rank advance, your organization is growing and growing and growing, and more people know your name. The numbers for your team, the amount of people in your team, it's growing. And so you have more energetic exchanges as you grow. So that's why this is incredibly important. So I'm just going to share with you, there was a time in my business at around Diamond, about 1 year into Diamond, where I had to take a 3-month pause because I was starting to hit burnout. And then all of these great tools came to me, and then I felt free. And then my joy to build this business returned, my original joy, why I started in the first place. So yes, there are definitely pockets in my team where people still don't care for the way I do things, or they don't like my mentoring style. But, I have peace with that, and I understand that, and that's okay. Whereas before I would cry, and I would be so hurt, and all the attacks coming towards me. So if you plan on expanding yourself in any way, whether it's in doTERRA or you're an entrepreneur and you have another business that you're doing, make sure that you're building these healthy boundaries to keep yourself safe and protected so you don't hit burnout in whatever you're doing and whatever you're creating. So let's talk about how we can remove these energetic hooks. So we're going to use a few essential oils. We're going to do thyme, melaleuca, and lemongrass. So thyme is actually a very powerful cleanser of energy, of stagnant energy and stagnant repressed emotions too. But in this situation, we are going to be using thyme to begin the process of dislodging these energetic hooks. Because some of these hooks, there's different sizes. There's small, medium, and large. And they can be very embedded within us, and we're used to it. It's comfortable. It's what we know. It's like the dog returning to its vomit. So thyme, when we put it on top of the head, and the top of the head is a phenomenal location to apply essential oils. It rushes throughout your system very quickly. So energetically, two of my favorite locations where essential oils move quickly throughout the body and through your emotional body is on the top of the head as well as around the belly button. Okay, so thyme on the top of the head is going to it'll start loosening those energetic hooks from where they're stuck, kind of loosening them up, breaking them up so that it's easy to pull them out. And so then the melaleuca on the spine is doing the actual physical action of ripping those energetic hooks out of you. So on the spine, we're going to basically cover all our bases. All the nerve roots come from the spine to all your organs. And so it will rush through your system well just by putting essential oils on the spine. And you can use maybe 3 to 5 drops depending on how tall you are. You can use the Melaleuca Touch. You can dilute every single step throughout this presentation. So thyme is a hotter oil. If that's too spicy for you, then go ahead and follow it up with some fractionated coconut oil. And then the last step is lemongrass. Lemongrass is going to be applied on the solar plexus. If you don't know where that is the core of your belly. So it will be maybe 2 to 3 inches above your belly button. And if you do abdominal crunches right at that center point, that's your core. That's your solar plexus. So what lemongrass does is it's going to go ahead and clear up any residual energies that have been left behind from that hook removal process. I gave this story at the event or analogy, like let's say you're moving out of your house or an apartment or a condo and you get everything out, but still the place has been worn out and it's a little dingy. So you have to go in and get some cleaners to go ahead and clean out the whole place to make it sparkly and new. So think about lemongrass as like the cleaners that are going in and just cleaning up all the rest of the dust and the dirt and the grime. Okay. So if you haven't started yet, please go ahead and get these essential oils out. You're going to start with thyme on top of the head, 1 drop. And then you're going to get your Melaleuca Touch, or 3 to 5 drops. However, you just need a thin layer on your spine, and get the Melaleuca on your spine. And then after that, you're going to do the lemongrass on the solar plexus. So I can, if you hear me snapping or breathing on occasion, it's because I can feel these hooks coming off, or you're letting go of a stagnant emotion. And so when I snap, it does help to move it along so that it releases. And yes, this even works through Zoom. You don't necessarily have to be physically present with a person to do energy work on them, because there is no such thing as space and time. Whew. Awesome. And take your time. You don't need to rush. All right. So I'm going to go ahead. Oh, do I need to answer any chat questions? Or me just keep going? I shall just keep going. Next slide. So it's one step. Oh yeah. Yes.
Quick question. Somebody doesn't have time. Are there any other oils they can work with instead on top of that?
Absolutely. You know what? You can just use the Melaleuca. So just do the Melaleuca on top of the head and then also the spine. Perfect. So it's one thing to remove these energetic hooks, okay? But then there are all these cracks in your auric field. Now we have to repair it. Think of like your field, like there's a lovely, bubble around you and like an egg. And when you have 800 hooks, you're going to have all those cracks. So your energy is still bleeding out. You may feel better, but this is really like sealing the deal. This is like the cherry on top. So what we're going to do is we're going to use frankincense, and you're going to apply it on a couple of locations. Another option would be helichrysum. So if you have dealt with very severe trauma, for example, like being molested, or been dealing with domestic abuse, or someone's been violent towards you, then you can use the helichrysum. But if you haven't gone through some extreme trauma like that, then the frankincense is totally sufficient. Here I'm going to just add this that I didn't add in the workshop, just so you know, like even when we have sexual partners, and if they aren't someone that's very important to you, like, it's just kind of casual sex, you can totally get hooks from that. So just be aware, like when you are intimate with people, that is a very deep exchange. And I've had to help people get rid of hooks, or even if they had been raped, you can have a huge hook like in your perineum area. So in that case, you can use Melaleuca. For whatever reason, I guess I'm bringing this topic up because it's going to affect somebody in this group. So just keep that in mind too. All right, now frankincense. It is and helichrysum too. These are very restorative, repairing, nourishing essential oils. We use frankincense to prevent scarring, right? And to speed up healing when there is a cut or a surgery site. So same kind of thing here with your auric field. It's going to go ahead and seal up and repair all of those cracks. And you're just going to feel like you're going to be able to take a deep breath, and you'll feel more whole and complete. In a way, it's like you're gathering yourself again, because when you have even, 50 energetic hooks, you're tied to 50 different people, and they're taking pieces of you. And so if you're wondering why you can't catch up, like you sleep, but you're not feeling rested, you're doing all this great self-care, but you still feel like you're behind, or something's just bleeding, like you're bleeding out. And that's one of the reasons why. And when you're tied to 50 people, there are people who are watching this that have upwards of 3,000 energetic hooks, by the way. When you have that many people tied to you, you can subconsciously hear their thoughts and feel their feelings too. And when you're an empath and you're a hypersensitive, oh my goodness, that's enough to drive a person bonkers. So people who have a hard time falling asleep at night because their mind doesn't shut down, you've got to consider the fact if you have a lot of energetic hooks. So it's fantastic when you don't have them, because now you'll experience way more peace. Yes, there are obviously our own personal issues that we have to get through, but this is the first layer of just getting rid of the clutter. Okay, this is energetic clutter that you don't need, and your immune system goes down dramatically when you have a lot of energetic hooks. That's one of the reasons why as I was a sickly child, I got colds and flus every 3 weeks. I missed a lot of school, which sucks for someone who is an overachiever. and that's why I went into natural medicine, to understand why I had childhood asthma and obesity problems and getting sick all the time. So yes, diet, it was an important component, because I ate a horrible diet growing up, the standard American diet, but also there's this piece too. It's both. So I hope that gives you a nice picture about the effects of energetic hooks and what they can do. They can cause migraine headaches. They can cause respiratory issues, digestive issues, pain, a lot of inflammation, weakened immune system. So I'm not saying it's everything, okay, but it is an important piece to make sure that you take care of. So after we do frankincense, here's the next thing. We repaired all the cracks. Now you've got to build proper, healthy boundaries so that this doesn't happen moving forward. So I'm going to give you two options. I know it says today and next 3 weeks, but you can use either option for the next 3 weeks. You're going to use clove and melaleuca. That's one option. If you don't have clove, then you can absolutely use On Guard and melaleuca, because there's plenty of clove in there. And you can do it neat or put it in a roller bottle. If you want to make a boundaries blend in a roller bottle, I would say about whether you use the clove or melaleuca or the petitgrain of melaleuca, either one. The petitgrain of melaleuca is stronger. So if you're hypersensitive, I would go with the petitgrain melaleuca option. You could do about 8 drops of each of those essential oils in a 5 ml, and then fill the rest with fractionated coconut oil. And you just roll it right on your solar plexus, okay, the core of your belly. Or you could do them neat, doesn't matter. And in the next 3 weeks, you can start today, but in the next 3 weeks, you are going to build your boundaries. It's going to gradually grow and grow and grow. Now, some people, they only need maybe 50 feet outside of them because they're not as sensitive. Some people need 5 miles. Some people need across the size of your city. Some people need, the size of your state, or the size of US, or around the country. It just, around the whole planet, or around Earth. Like, it just depends. Mine goes around the planet and out to many galaxies out there, because I am very sensitive. And it's amazing, because you will still have your gifts as an empath. That does not go away. But what it does is it helps to filter things out that you don't need. Of course, any kind of negativity and toxicity and harm and darkness, we've got to filter that out. Having boundaries does not block people out per se. Like, it's not going to block out people that are loving and supportive and kind. It's going to block out people who take advantage of you, who wish harm upon you, who don't like you. You don't need that in your space anyways. So don't be afraid of building boundaries. It's a very healthy thing. And the more boundaries I build, funny enough, the more relationships, beautiful relationships that just flood my life. And I sometimes have to grow my boundaries more and more. The more people know who you are, you might have to grow your boundaries out again every season. For me, I grow my boundaries out about monthly, because I'm putting myself out there. I do a lot of videos and social media posts. So in my situation, it's very healthy for me to revisit, and I'll do like another, few days of putting these boundaries blend on. But if, you're not putting your name out there all the time and you're not exposing yourself to numerous people all the time, then you don't need to continually build boundaries. Like if your circles are pretty small, you can build it out and maybe like once every 6 months, go ahead and put this on again. But you can never overdose on boundaries. If you feel like you need extra, you can go more than 3 weeks. You're going to be just fine. Okay? All right. So let's talk a little bit about the ego. I love this topic because I grew up with a huge, huge, huge ego. And I learned from my parents. I learned very well. They're very judgmental, and they don't like certain groups of people. And my father did teach me to hate certain crowds of people. And when you're young, you just listen. So, but around 15, they sent me to a private school. I went to Catholic school all my life. And then you hear messaging from, loving others and respecting others, and then hearing the opposite at home. There was that dissonance there. And then I just went on my own self-discovery and learning the subconscious mind starting at the age of 15. So this is a very fascinating topic. When I think of the ego, I think of worrying about these components where you're really concerned about your body, your body image, like your self-worth being tied to your body and how you look. Time, obsessing about time. That's something our Western culture is fantastic at achievements too. Like goal setting is fantastic, but sometimes it can be destructive when people feel like they're worthless rather than enjoying the process of reaching the goal. And then obsessing about your environment and what's going on around you. Yes, your environment obviously does affect you, but as you mature, it shouldn't affect you as much. Okay. So when I'm thinking in the finite, when I'm thinking scarcity, when I'm thinking not enough, like, oh, I don't have enough skills or talents to help this person. I felt that many times growing my doTERRA business too. Like, I don't know if I can help this person go through this difficult time or this block that they're going through. I don't know how to mentor them through it because I'm not a psychiatrist or a psychologist. So whenever I feel not enough, I know that I'm coming from the egoic space. Okay. So the difference is what feeling connected to source. That's where I really want all of you to come from, whether it's universe, source, or God. Then you know that you are already connected to infinite wisdom, infinite love, infinite intelligence, infinite abundance. And from there, you can really serve your people greatly in massive ways. So I want to teach you a protocol that I use when I need to kill my ego. When I'm thinking scarcity, this is what I go to. Oregano is one of the best essential oils to kill the ego. One of the best. And, I had to use this a couple of times at the Blue Prez Summit. We just went to the Blue Prez Summit in Scottsdale, Arizona. And you're talking, over 200 people with very intense personalities and lots of opinions, and they're doers and they have big presence. And it's very easy to start comparing yourself to the people around you. Even if you're, a silver, you're going to compare yourself to other silvers in doTERRA, right? So when you get into the comparison game, like that's another propping up of the ego. So I get the oregano and I take a drop and I put it right on top of the head, and it just stops it. It cuts it out so that now I have a more infinite perspective rather than not enough. And then the second one is using cardamom and frankincense. Take a drop of each and you put it in your hand. And you can, by the way, do this as I'm speaking. So you can go ahead and take your oregano out. You can use the oregano touch too. It can be diluted. And then after you do the oregano, do the cardamom and the frankincense, 1 drop each, rub in your hands and then cup over your nose and inhale. I would inhale at least for a solid minute. So cardamom is the oil of objectivity. I love cardamom when I need perspective. When I start to get tunnel visioned about something, like, oh, this is impossible. I can't figure this out. Like, I remember a season when I felt so inadequate with technology. And even at the beginning of the year when I was teaching workshops, I would say to the group, oh my goodness, I'm so bad with technology. And like things would, not work with the clicker. And I end up breaking stuff all the time. And that was my story. I kept saying that story. And then I was like, no, I used the cardamom, I used the frankincense. I'm like, I need perspective. Like, there is a way to figure this out. There is a possibility. There is a solution. And so I took Instagram with intention with Hillary Rushford. I grew my Instagram following because I didn't get Instagram. It didn't make sense to me. But I went from 200 followers to now I'm at like 3754 using her methods and using her strategies and learning how to post and what to post, and now I use Zoom, and now I use this and this and that, and it's just so cool. Sometimes my husband asks me questions, the engineer, about how to do something, which is just so bizarre. I just crack up every time he asks me a question. So I went and I learned. So that I love cardamom for this, to give me perspective, to get me out of that tunnel vision and to just see beyond what I'm currently seeing. And then frankincense is the oil of truth. So it helps to pull away those lies and deceptions, like, oh, like, Desiree, you're never going to be great at technology. You have to just, I do hire a lot out, but you're going to have to hire everything out. But I wanted to learn for myself and be intimate in the process of my posts with Instagram. So yeah, so that has, but you can even put that in the diffuser. Put that in the diffuser. It's a great combination. And then lastly, the fennel you're going to apply on the wrist crease. Fennel is a powerhouse essential oil. I really encourage you all to use more fennel, and even coriander too. Fennel and coriander have some similar energetic properties, but fennel is wonderful to help bringing out your authentic self, and you begin to respect yourself more. It's the oil of responsibilities. So you learn like what it is that you are meant to handle and what it is you're not meant to handle. Sometimes we take on way more than we should. And fennel also gives that understanding of like, oh, okay, this, and this. Yes, I got to take care of this. But these other few things, I just need to delete it out of my life or give it to somebody else or hire somebody to do that. Like, for example, I quickly learned as I'm using essential oils and growing my business that I really, really suck at cleaning my house and scrubbing toilets. I absolutely can't stand that. I'm not designed for that. It brings me absolutely no joy. So I have a cleaner that comes every single week. I have 2 little boys and a husband, so it does get messy pretty easily. So I used to do once a month. That's not enough. Once a week now. And I'm just so happy about that. That will never go away. So fennel. It helps to bring out your authentic self and helps you to speak up more too. It's a wonderful oil for pushovers. People who say yes to everything and everyone and have a hard time saying no to others. So to stand in your power, but also stand in your authenticity at the same time. Okay? All right. So the more you clear your personal baggage, and we're going to talk about more clearing in the next few slides, the less you become triggered. Because if you don't manage your ego and understand it, the way I look at it is, am I reactive? Like when someone says something inside of me, can I really objectively, respectfully say, oh, I can see where they're coming from. I may not agree with it and I may not like it, but they have every right to experience life the way they do and live the way they do and have the opinions that they have. But if somebody says something and I'm like, oh, I really can't stand that, that just like pisses me off, it drives me nuts, that's when I know I have to take a time out and figure that out. Because if I don't figure that out and if I just let it be the way it is, then I feel that I would not have an accurate perception of a person. And that's another cool part about the cardamom from earlier. Cardamom helps you to stop like objectifying people. So easily we can put people in a box and be like, oh, they're that kind of person, they're that kind of person. They just have these few qualities and adjectives. They're a procrastinator, they're lazy, blah, blah, and then you just put them in this little tiny box, right? So cardamom helps you to see more of that person than just those few qualities. So you want, when I'm triggered, to me, I feel like if I'm working with a client and I feel very triggered by them, I wouldn't continue working with them because I can't really see what's going on. I have my baggage that is just clouding my vision of the truth. So the more you clear your own baggage, the less you are triggered, the less you are biased, and the more you are accurate at serving your customer, your client, your partner, your patient, okay, as a healer. Fantastic. So let's talk about ways to help remove limiting beliefs. This will help remove limiting beliefs, yes. It will help remove some trapped emotions, but it's going to get to the root issues. Like, for example, I had this story, and I've shared this in my Copaiba video on my Facebook page, where I had an issue with somebody, and the way I was describing them, like how that person was treating me, was exactly how I was describing how my mother was treating me and how I viewed my mom. So I had this belief that, you know, my mother does not care about me. I'm not important. I don't matter because she was working 7 days a week on holidays and never showed up to any of my recitals or anything that I accomplished. She didn't show up because she just worked. So witnessing that, I created this definition that she doesn't care, she doesn't love me. But in reality, that isn't true. She was loving me the way that she knew how, because she grew up in poverty, and to be able to fund like my private education and whatever, like my piano lessons, whatever I wanted to do, that was her way of showing love. But I interpreted it in a different way. So when I use Copaiba and Siberian fir, it helped me to unearth that deep-seated issue of unworthiness. And then that other person I was talking about, that I was projecting my issue with my mom on that person, I had a complete attitude change and was able to have a conversation with that person and just express what I was going through. And we were able to clear out all the miscommunications and the misunderstandings. It was so incredible. So I just want you to know, as you use these essential oils like the Siberian fir and the Copaiba, the way I'm going to teach you, you may have some strong emotional purges, emotional reactions. It did take me about 2 days of hysteria, meaning like I was raging mad, I was crying uncontrollably. I mean, I was like all over the place. So I'm going to give you some oils you can use to help mitigate that so it's not so intense. So the first step would be using the Siberian fir and Copaiba, and you're going to apply that on the Sanjiao channel of your arms. Now the Sanjiao channel, Sanjiao is triple burner in Chinese medicine. There's your upper burner, middle burner, and lower burner. So upper burner houses the lungs and the heart, and then the middle burner is like their stomach and your liver, and lower burner is like your bladder and your kidneys, okay? So it's really like all of your organ systems, and Sanjiao is responsible for temperature regulation of your body, you know, especially with your current environment and your body adjusting to reach that homeostasis. And then also it's responsible for water metabolism. So where it is on Sanjiao is you're gonna take your outer arm here, and you're gonna dissect it down the middle. So outside of the forearm, and you're gonna start applying Siberian fir, okay, on the outside of the forearm, and actually go even on the outside of the arm right here. So it'll be like one long line. I hope you can see that in my picture. Okay, so you're just gonna put like Siberian fir on do both sides bilaterally, and then you're gonna do Copaiba following it up. Whew. So you can go ahead and do that now. if you find yourself struggling with this and having emotional outbursts and you don't like it, and by the way, it's okay. I would move through the emotional outburst. Don't fight it or try to hide it or pretend like it's not there. Move through it, experience it. But you can use helichrysum and juniper berry and maybe even some lavender too. So helichrysum, juniper berry, and lavender, you can put that in the diffuser during the day, the next couple of days, to help you to process well. And then also taking like Epsom salt baths tonight would be another great option. Good. Oh, amazing. You're going to feel incredible after you do this protocol. And then lemongrass is the second step. So remember how I talked about lemongrass are like the cleaners that clean up all the remaining gunk and grime? That's what lemongrass is doing. It's just sweeping everything out. Like what you unearth, it's going to kick up a lot of dust, right? And so the lemongrass is going to help clean it all out. So I recommend in taking a drop in your hands, rub your hands together, cup over your nose, don't touch your eyes, and then inhale for a solid minute. Whoo! Some of you are doing some great releases. I can feel it right through the screen. It's amazing. And you may get very thirsty as you're doing clearing work like this. So go ahead and drink extra water. Just drink extra water in general today and tomorrow. Wonderful. Okay. All right. And so I touched on this earlier, but I'll stress it again. Like one of my issues before too is I did a lot of work by my own power and I wasn't very connected to source. And so that's where my exhaustion came from. So we are a vessel. We are a vessel for divine source. And you don't want to do all this work on your own because it's exhausting. So you have source to connect to, and then you have all this infinite power available to you. So you are not burning out. So operating from your own power versus divine source, okay? So here are some of my favorite ways that help me to connect to source, to connect to God, to connect to the universe, to hear my messengers, to hear my guides and angels, is using these essential oils. So frankincense on the third eye is always fantastic. The third eye is the center of your spiritual vision. It helps us to see the unseen, for it's how we experience other people's thoughts and emotions as we're connecting to them too. So very important to keep that third eye open and clear when you are a healer and you are coaching people or when you are guiding people through things. So the second one is Indian sandalwood. Oh, this is the oil of sacred devotion. When I need more wisdom and guidance and understanding, insight into a problem that I don't really know what to do with or I don't understand, I use Indian sandalwood. And I have you put it on the bottoms of the big toes because that is the reflexology point for the brain. Gets you super grounded, connected to the earth. And to me, it helps me to hear God's voice very, very clearly. And then the third one is myrrh on the sacrum. I am a myrrh fanatic. So some of you might not be using these essential oils on a regular basis. Oh my goodness, myrrh is the best for fight or flight mode. So, in Aroma Touch, they teach the wild orange and peppermint, which is really great for your parasympathetic nervous system. But myrrh is so much better. And putting it on the sacrum, some people, I'll even have them put it right on their perineum because it's great for the root chakra. So whenever you don't feel like you're safe, you're not taken care of, you are not protected, provided for, myrrh is your friend. It's great for abandonment issues too. So that's why I love it when I feel disconnected to God or source, like that's when I use myrrh too. And the sacrum is obviously accesses the parasympathetic nervous system. And we operate a lot on fight or flight. Okay. A lot of us, I would say like 90% of the time are operating in the sympathetic nervous system. It should not be that much. We're not designed to be living in fight or flight for extended periods of time. I mean, if you look out in nature, when a zebra is running from a lion, right? And let's say the zebra gets away, then after the lion's gone, they go right back to grazing. Then they go right back into parasympathetic mode. They're not sitting like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that just happened. That is just unbelievable. I almost died. Like they don't obsess about it. But as humans, we will obsess about events of the past that are not happening right now, but totally reliving it as it's happening. Maybe like you lost a job or got fired, 10 years ago at a job, and you've been at this current job for 10 years, but you have this thing in the background, like I could get fired at any moment I could just lose everything. And so you're living that scarcity, that fear for the next 10 years. So you've got to clear those out. Like I love using lemongrass and cypress. I'm giving you extra here. Lemongrass, cypress, and Siberian fir to clear out trapped emotions. Just so you know, that's a great trio. Lemongrass, Siberian fir, and cypress. You can put that on your spine. You can put it in the diffuser. That'll clear that out. But then I go ahead and then use myrrh to help nourish and restore and repair that perspective. Okay. I forgot to mention this, but I have a very specific sequencing in what I do. And this is thanks to Chinese medicine and how we approach dealing when we're treating patients, is that first we like to remove the stagnation. So, doing the clearing work. Okay, clearing out the congestion or the block. But then after that, you got to go in, you got to nourish. So you can remove hopelessness, which is fantastic to do, but you can't just remove hopelessness and leave it alone. You have to go in and nourish, fill in hope. Makes sense? And then once we nourish, and then the last step, this is so beautiful with Chinese medicine, in Chinese medical formulas and in our protocols with acupuncture points, we harmonize it all at the end. You've got to harmonize the formula. You've got to harmonize the treatment. So then, we fill in with hopelessness, but it's not just like, just fill it in and leave it there. Like you have to spread it out throughout the body and let it circulate throughout the system, and that it's circulating in a very harmonious, rhythmic fashion, not like too much and erratically and not too slow. That it is the proper pace. So frankincense, by the way, is one of those wonderful, wonderful oils that harmonize. You'll find that I use frankincense at the end of my blends often, sometimes at the end of protocols. Sometimes I use wild orange to harmonize. So that's a cool technique that makes the work that I do more effective. So going through the clear, nourish, and harmonize steps. All right, moving forward. So this is a future application. You don't have to do this now, but this is pretty much related to the ego discussion we had earlier. This is another option. I love using Arbor Vitae too. If you feel like you're getting too in your headspace, you're getting too worried, too anxious, just getting wrapped up in something and it's taking over, maybe you're having a freak out, a panic attack, here's a quick way to resolve it. You can just do that oregano on top of the head, like I taught earlier about killing the ego. And then you can nourish and harmonize with the Arbor Vitae and put that on the bottoms of the feet. Arbor Vitae is another great essential oil that helps me to feel connected with source and knowing that I'm totally not alone and I have all the support and all the help that I need. When I think about the amount of responsibilities that I have in a day and the amount of projects that I have to complete, plus raising, my 2 family, and now I'm expecting and dealing with nausea and being pregnant, it's very easy to, I would say maybe 3-4 years ago, if I had all my responsibilities today, I would have a mental breakdown. It's kind of like in ranks in doTERRA. You're not going to want to go from like executive to diamond in a day, right? You're going to want to grow into the diamond rank, because your activities as a diamond are very different than an executive. So I still am like, gosh, Desiree, this is amazing. Like, I'm getting this done and doing this and doing that and taking care of this. And I have grace with it. And even though it's a lot, like someone would look at my schedule and be like, oh my God, I would die, right? But I know how to be very present. And so these wood oils, like the myrrh and the sandalwood and the frankincense and the arbor vitae, helps you to be very present in just the thing you need to focus on today. It's when we talked about time, right? When we're in the ego, when you're obsessed about the past or obsessed about the future and not fully engaged in the present moment, then there's stress. Even though I do have like 10 things I got to get done today, but I'm so here because I'm loving teaching this to you, and I'm not thinking about those 10 things. So when you use like arbor vitae and you use myrrh and you use sandalwood, you're going to get better and better at fully focusing on one thing at a time, so that you can get it done in a shorter period of time. I remember when certain things would take me 2-3 hours to do, and now I could get it done in a half an hour because I'm fully engaged and I don't have all these past issues that are clouding my efficiency and productivity today. Okay? Great. Some of you needed to hear that. All right. So building your tolerance. How are we? Oh, wow. We're already an hour. This is great. We have good timing, so we'll be able to answer a question. Building your tolerance. So I'm going to talk about, oh, yes.
I'm just going to ask you one question while we're in this flow. Yes. Someone asked if they can use Hawaiian sandalwood rather than the Indian.
Okay. You can, but I don't feel you're going to get really the same results, as good of results with Indian sandalwood. So Indian sandalwood is really wonderful for the root chakra, the kidneys. It's wonderful for feeling safe and secure, whereas the Hawaiian sandalwood is more for the heart. And I like to use Hawaiian sandalwood when I'm dealing with more of heartache, heartbreak, disappointment. So yes, the Hawaiian sandalwood has properties of, helping you to feel grounded, but it just won't be as much as the Indian. If anything, then go ahead and use like the myrrh and the arbor vitae for this purpose. Okay, cool. All right. So building your tolerance. We're going to talk about energy exchanges with people, understanding energetic exchanges. I absolutely love this topic because we live in a very technological world, and social media is a part of almost everyone's lives. But there are definitely some ramifications to using social media. I shared the story about, I honestly don't know what cultures believe this, but there are some civilizations that believe that when you take a picture of someone, then their soul gets trapped in the picture. And I didn't ever poo-poo that thought, but I wondered like how that would work. But then as I started seeing things, it does make sense to a certain degree, because when you have a picture that you post on Facebook or Instagram, right, and you have 50 people look at it or comment or like on it, you actually have an exchange with them. So that's why some people, they don't like social media. It overwhelms them. Okay, usually people that are overwhelmed by social media, they're very sensitive. They're most likely an empath. And over time, like as you post and post and post, and people are looking and commenting and liking and thinking about you, if you don't have proper boundaries, that's going to be very painful. But it's not just boundaries. Boundaries is one thing, because it's just blocking out, that negativity. But whenever you have a conversation with somebody, like a phone call, or you're having a meal with someone, you're teaching a doTERRA class, you're seeing a client or a customer, and you're talking with someone, there is going to be some sort of exchange. And there's a lot of beautiful exchanges that happen, a lot of connection and love and encouragement. But also on top of the beautiful exchange that you have, sometimes there's some heavy exchanges that come along with it. So when you have a friend that comes to you and saying, their mother just got diagnosed with cancer, and obviously you're going to be sad too if you're really close with them and have some feelings of grief and loss, and you should have that. It's normal. Like, all emotions are beautiful. They have a purpose. It's just when it gets stuck and lasts way longer beyond their season is when you're going to start experiencing diseases. But when you're having, conversations that have some heaviness to them, you're going to have that exchange. And say you're a social worker and you're talking to all of these children with very difficult circumstances, sometimes it's hard to not take your work home with you. You carry all that with you. Or if you're a nurse and you're in the ER and people are in extreme pain and fear and they're scared, and you have those exchanges with all those patients, you're gonna take that home with you. So over time, this collects and collects and collects, and then causes a lot of exhaustion and even like improper gene expression, leading to disease and inflammation. So it's important to clear that stuff out. And oh, by the way, because I talked about social media a few minutes ago, when you scroll through Facebook or Instagram and you're scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, I rarely do this because it's too much for me. Even when you're scrolling and scrolling for every single, like, you don't even have to intentionally read an entire post or watch a video or anything. You just saw the picture, just a quick glance as you're scrolling. You have an exchange with every single scroll that you did. Isn't that crazy? I'm not trying to freak you out. So like just mindlessly scrolling through, it's not mindless, by the way. There are definitely consequences to just going like this. You have an exchange with all of these posts. So I prepare myself before I go do scroll through anything, because this is a part of my business, right? If you're equipped with these tools, you can handle social media without having any kind of negative consequence from it. So you're going to love the next stuff that I'm going to teach. And again, not to be paranoid, this also applies to like TV shows that you're watching or YouTube videos. You have an exchange with all of these people, with the actors, the actresses. So also just understand, like, just to be more conscious about what you're consuming on TV or social media, okay? So let's talk a little bit about being a conduit. So a conduit is like one of the highest levels of a hypersensitive. So I'm just going to briefly go talk about this subject, and then a percentage of you who are listening here are conduits, and they'll just shed a little bit more light as to your situation. So conduits, they are hypersensitive. One of the things they have the ability to do is they have the ability to step into like the soul of another and work. You can work on yourself. For example, I'm a conduit. I can put oils on myself when I'm thinking about a person, and then they will at the same time experience the benefits. Now, this doesn't mean you go and like obsessively go heal people. This is always permission based. So if someone's name keeps coming to mind or to your heart, and it just won't go away, you can't shake it, then that means you have permission. And that's when I just ask God, like, God, okay, well, this person keeps coming to me, and what can I do? What oils do I need to put on to help this person? And it's so amazing. You're going to have these very cool, like, miraculous, serendipitous moments. Put those oils on yourself wherever you're guided, wherever your intuition is telling you, and you can help that other person out. So another image of like a conduit, I would say like prayer warriors. would be classified as a conduit. Like prayer warriors, they can say a prayer, they can do a meditation, and boom, like that person that they were praying for is miraculously healed. So conduits also tend to be significantly more emotional. They sometimes have a hard time being in public around a lot of people. They operate like chameleons and just absorb what's going on and, you know, the people in their environment. So this is very important as the conduit for you to maintain those boundaries, not just boundaries, but I'm going to teach you how to clear out exchanges with people. So when I do conduit kind of work, someone's coming to mind, I'll do energy work on myself, or I will put essential oils on myself. After I'm done doing that, then I do a little clearing so that there isn't any exchange that is harmful for me. So let's briefly talk about yin and yang. So Chinese medicine is all about the balance of yin and yang, and there are yin organs and there are yang organs. Yang represents movement and qi and function and activity. It's the sun, whereas yin is more inward. It's substance, it's fluid, it's slower, it's the moon, it's restoration and repair. So yin organs are going to be the organs that have more material, more matter to them. So in Chinese medicine, organs are paired. So spleen, it's on the right-hand corner. There's spleen and then there's stomach. So stomach is the yang and spleen is the yin. Yang organs are hollow. Stomach is mostly hollow. The intestines, lungs and large intestines are paired, by the way. There's obviously more material, more matter, more substance, whereas the large intestines are hollow. So because yin organs have more matter to them, they do act like sponges. They have a tendency to absorb more of that residual energies that we were talking about. Now, every organ has an associative emotion with it. So the lungs have to do with grieving and loss, okay? And liver is associated with anger and frustration. Kidneys is fear. Okay, people who, for example, have a lot of underlying fears, paranoia, they're more likely to develop kidney stones, for example. Spleen is worry and overthinking. Pretty much in Chinese medicine, when you're diabetic, you're spleen qi deficient. Spleen is very, very weak, and you will notice a pattern. Take a look at the diabetics in your life. They have a chronic pattern of worry and overthinking because it destroys the spleen. And then the heart is sadness. Okay, so all of these emotions easily get trapped in these yin organs. So I'm going to share with you a blend to help clear those things out, right? This is also on my Instagram page. You can go to @Desiree Mangandog. It's just my name. It's posted there too. It's called Wipe the Day Away. So all those exchanges I talked about, whether it's in conversation or whether it's through social media or whether, you're watching a TV show and after you watch the TV show, you're like, you don't feel that great, right? You can use this after a full day at work and you're interacting with all kinds of people all day long or on the phone doing customer service calls and you have all these, complainers and whiners, you're going to want to use this. And when you use this, you're going to clear out any of those residual energies that are not serving you. It doesn't clear out, love and all of that. It clears out those energies that are lower frequencies that are not serving you. So that rather than coming home at the end of a work day wanting to crash and do nothing, you're going to have all of this vitality. You're going to be vibrant and have the energy to do things that you want to do. Like, for example, how many times have you put in your planner to go to your yoga class at 6:30 p.m. But you get home at 5:30 and you're like, there is no way I am getting in my car and going to that yoga class. You are just tapped out and you have no energy. So then, and then that happens day in and day out. And then all of a sudden you just start to deteriorate as weeks and months and years pass by. So to prevent all that, use the Wipe the Day Away blend. So you get a 10 ml roller bottle. You're going to do 8 marjoram. And then if you want a little stronger, I like to add about 5 drops of rosemary after the marjoram. It's not listed here, but if you want it stronger, okay? And then after the marjoram or rosemary, you're going to do 13 melaleuca. And then 3 cypress, 1 black pepper, and 3 frankincense. You're going to fill the rest with fractionated coconut oil. And you can do this in multiple locations. These are some of my favorite areas. I'll either do it across my chest, over my heart, down the midline of my belly, wrist creases, elbow creases, or the spine. Okay, I want you to just play around. For some people, like for me, it's my chest and my heart that I get the best results. For some, it might be the spine. So no hard, fast rule here. I want you to play and explore and see what makes the greatest difference for you. So the marjoram, if you have rosemary, rosemary applies in melaleuca, they are those 2 to 3 oils are the ones that are doing the main clearing action. Okay, clearing out all those residual energies. Cypress is oil of motion and flow. This is my insurance policy to make sure that marjoram, rosemary, and melaleuca are doing what it needs to do. It's like a kick in the pants. So it removes stagnation very well. Black pepper, I threw in here more as a little bit of a protective oil. It does have clearing properties, yes, but it also has protective properties. So that you're building your tolerance, and over time, like what's going to happen, guys, as you use these essential oils, like in the way that I teach, it's not that you're going to need it forever and ever and ever and ever. You're going to need it for a season. Okay. And for some of you, you might have to use the Wipe the Day Away for a month or 2 months or 3 months. It just depends on you. And your body, as you're using it, your body, your spirit will learn it like muscle memory. And I personally don't need to use this as much. I mean, there was a season where I was doing it like 3 times a day. And now it's like once every few days that I'll use it, or maybe even once a week. It just kind of depends on what's happening in my life. So you get stronger and you get stronger, because I don't believe that we need something always, all the time. It just depends on where you're at that moment and what you're going through and what's appropriate for where you're at. Okay. Okay. And then frankincense here is to really harmonize the blend, to harmonize the whole formula. Wonderful. All right. So enjoy this blend, make it, use it. This is many times just as important as your boundaries blend after you remove those energetic hooks. Here are some other great options. We already talked about marjoram and melaleuca, but cardamom and thyme work well too for clearing those residual energies. I love using cardamom also when I am processing, like when I am, for example, like when I do the copaiba and the Siberian fir, because I have seasons where I'm like, oh, there's something else I need to address right now, and I'll use the copaiba and the Siberian fir. And to help me move and dive into that thing that's coming up, cardamom helps you to digest and break down and understand and absorb and get like why that's happened, where it started, and so I can move through it gracefully rather than fighting it. And then thyme too, wonderful for clearing repressed emotions, stuck emotions from a long time ago. It's great for rage. Both cardamom and thyme are great for rage and anger. If you have a tendency to be angry a lot, frustrated easily, then definitely incorporate the cardamom and the thyme. All right. So for today, if you want to experience this now, if you haven't made the roller bottle, obviously you may not do that at the second, but you can get your marjoram, just straight up marjoram. Another oil that isn't used often enough is just get marjoram and just put it right across the chest. Do like 1 or 2 drops and see how you feel. You will feel much lighter. You might take a nice deep breath. Lovely. And, another one that I'll use sometimes if I'm in a pinch and I don't have my roller bottle is Aroma Touch. Aroma Touch has marjoram. It has cypress. Oh, and those two are really great for clearing. So that's another quick way. Cool. All right. I do want to touch on this. It isn't your job to carry the burdens of others. It is not your responsibility. As a healer, yes, it's our responsibility to show up, to love, to serve, to give advice when necessary, or maybe it's just to listen, right? And give our best selves to them and share with them whatever we need to help support them and help them move along in their journey. So with that being said, you cannot not carry everybody's problems. On some level, we have to understand that people are going through their struggles because they need to. It's part of their journey. And some of them are in their struggles because they're stubborn and they just want attention. So that's the cool part about building proper boundaries, is that you will get less and less of people who are just complaining and whining just for attention. Because a lot of people do that for significance. They want attention, and that's the only way they know how to get attention and love. They think they're getting love from people, but it's just a shallow connection, really. So even as a doTERRA business builder, we show up for our leaders and mentor them. But if they are having certain burdens, I don't want you to feel overly responsible for their success or lack of success either, because that's their job. All right. So don't take ownership of a bunch of people's issues, because you're going to get crushed underneath them. But as you use, the boundaries blend and the wipe the day away, this will happen less and less and less. And so now when people enter my space, I don't have a bunch of people just wanting my attention and just whining and complaining, because I have such great boundaries. The people who are able to get to me are the ones who are really ready. They are really ready to take their necessary steps towards their own healing process. So don't enable. And as you use, especially as you use Melaleuca, whether you're using your boundaries blend or wipe the day away, it's going to get harder and harder for you to maintain enabling relationships, because they are incredibly draining and exhausting. Okay? Wonderful. I wanted to share one little protocol with you. This is to help increase your heart knowing and your intuition, so that you are making better decisions on who to work with, who to hire, who to interact with, how to spend your time. Okay. Now, marjoram, you're going to put on your chest, and then you could do 1 or 2 drops. This is the protocol you would do once a day. Do it in the mornings for 1 week. It's not an ongoing protocol. It's just for 1 week. So if you don't have confidence in your decision-making abilities, or feel like you don't know how to listen to yourself or listen to your own voice or make right decisions, you feel like you make a decision and then you're regretting it. Okay. If that happens a lot, I used to do that. I used to just want to make everybody happy. So if anyone came in my path and they're like, oh yeah, I can design your website. I mean, I think I've had 3 people who I've given lots of money to that resulted in no website, because I had a hard time saying no, right? So I'm sure some of you have gone through situations like that. So marjoram, it's going to help you listen to your own body, and your body will say like a resounding yes. Yes, move forward in this, do that, work with that person, focus here, or your body will give you a resounding hell no, absolutely not. So this has helped me to find my team, to find the people that are helping me move forward in my personal growth and in my businesses. If I'm looking to hire a coach of some kind or looking for a mentor, this protocol helps me to, oh, that person, no way, not gonna, because everything you purchase too, we talked about exchanges on social media, like everyday purchases, where you buy your food, where you buy your clothing, where you buy your bone broth, right? Where you buy anything, or digital things like I bought Instagram with intention with Hillary Rushford. I love her. I've seen her live and talked with her a couple of times. Like, I'm so happy with my purchase with her. When I first saw one of her ads, my body was like, yes, she's my person. She is my person. So wouldn't you love to make purchasing decisions from that space where you're like, yes, 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 or, ooh, no, I don't want anything to do with that person. And it's not that person is bad. It's just that it's not the right fit. You guys aren't resonating the same. That's all. So that you are making decisions that resonate with you, that are going to be in alignment with your values, this is one of those protocols that can help, okay? Because I sucked at making decisions before, and that's why I came up with this, always hiring the wrong people, people just taking my money, or hiring someone to do a roof repair, and it ends up being a really crappy job, stuff like that. All right, so margin across the chest, lime on the solar plexus. Lime connects the head and the heart too, but it also helps you to listen to your body. So between the marjoram and the lime, they're really helping you to listen to your intuition in your body. And then geranium on the heart, so that it helps you to trust in yourself, to learn to trust in the messages, in your intuition, so you're not second guessing over and over again, like, should I do that? Should I do that? No second guessing. This protocol makes it very clear of how to move forward. Very good. Okay. So the more you clear, right? Hold on. Can you move? Never mind. So when you clear your baggage, you can help others clear their baggage. So when we talked about not taking other people's burden, when you take other people's burden, you get sucked right into their story with them. And like, oh, you poor thing, honey. Yeah, that shouldn't have happened. That sucks, right? There's no lifting happening there. So when you clear yourself out, you vibrate much higher, and you have greater awareness of things, of patterns, and solving problems, seeing people's root issues and providing the best solution for them. As you clear, you lift up, your capacity expands. And so you can serve more people. So when I interact with someone, let's say someone is vibrating, let's just do some simple numbers as an example. On a scale of 0 to 100. Let's say someone's vibrating at like 20%, and I'm having a conversation with them, and I'm like at 50%. So my frequencies are just a little bit higher than them. It's very common for the person who is vibrating lower to suck the other people around them and then bring that 50% down to 20%. So now they're like in the same resonance, right? But when you know how to maintain your space, you clear your own energetic gunk, right? And you know how to clear residual energies, you know how to have boundaries, and you're at 50% and you're around this 20% person, then you can actually lift them up to like 30, maybe 30%. Rather than you getting sucked down, you're gonna lift others. Isn't that amazing? So that's why if I want to improve my skills as a leader in my businesses, as a healer, I have to be mindful of me and spend a great deal of time improving me. Okay? All right. Oh, this is a great video. Enjoy it.
Desiree, the volume
Mhm.
seems to be coming through.
It's not coming through?
No, I don't know if you can adjust that on your side or
Let
not.
me see. I'm trying. Is that better?
No, still not hearing it.
Okay. Maybe they could just see the visual.
Oh, there it's starting to come. Can you pick it up a little bit? It's now.
With your health and your passions.
There we
The
go.
pebbles are the other important things. Your car, your job, your home. The sand is everything else. It's just the small stuff. Now, if you put the sand in the jar first, you won't have room for the pebbles or the golf balls. The same is true in life. You spend all your energy and your time on the small stuff. You won't have time for all the really important things that matter to you. Pay attention to the things that are critical to your happiness. Take care of the golf balls first, the really important things. Set your priorities, because everything else is just sand. Yes.
Professor, what does the beer represent?
I'm glad you asked. It goes to show that no matter how full your life may seem to be, there's always room for a couple of beers with a friend.
Okay. So, I'm sorry if you guys didn't hear that properly, but you probably saw the images of like putting the golf balls first. So what is first priority? Oh, okay, got your message, Aisha. We won't do the other video then. So this is what's so beautiful about doing this work, using the tools that I gave you. You're going to have better understanding of like what are golf balls in your life and what are the pebbles and what's the sand and what's the beer. And so many individuals fill their life up with sand, and they don't take care of the most important things. I really love priority matrix. If you Google that, that's the whole like what's important, what's not important, what's urgent, and what's not urgent. So it's called priority matrix. And the time we should be spending on are the stuff that's important but not urgent. But how many of us are constantly putting out fires and dealing with just the urgent all the time? So I have discovered that me understanding how to prioritize properly and knowing what is unhealthy and what's not serving me and what is serving me has dramatically increased the quality of my relationships and the quality of my life and the quality of my businesses. So as you just do the work with, the oils and the blends and the protocols I shared with you, it will all come together. It will all come together. So I really look forward to hearing how these protocols work for you guys. Rhythm and flow, my husband usually teaches this. Let me see if there's, okay. So the Tale of Two Seas, he teaches about the Tale of Two Seas. So if you look, there is the River Jordan that runs down the middle, and you'll see the Sea of Galilee kind of at the top, and then the Dead Sea at the bottom. Now the Sea of Galilee is teeming with life. There is a lot of fishes in there. There's a lot of growth. There's just a lot of life there. And then if you look at the Dead Sea, and nothing grows. That's why it's called the Dead Sea. And one of the main differences is that the Sea of Galilee has an inlet of the River Jordan, and it also has an outlet. So it flows, it moves. But the Dead Sea has an inlet, but then it pools. There is no outlet. So this is the basis of Chinese medicine. When there is flow, there is no pain. And when there is no free flow, then there is pain. So we are always looking to create healthy rhythm and flow of qi and blood. And what moves all of this stuff? It's our emotions, our thoughts and emotions. Emotion is just energy in motion. So it is important to experience all of the emotions. However, there are seasons. So this is like the rhythm and the cycles, right? There are seasons all throughout the year, and there are seasons for our emotions. When you move or have a relationship change, maybe a breakup with somebody that's very painful, maybe someone you've been with a very long time, you're going to grieve. You're going to mourn that loss. Or, I mean, moving is very intense too for people. Moving to a different city even, or a different neighborhood, a different house. That's a whole routine change. So yes, there's a season to mourn those things, but when they go on for years and years and decades while not being addressed, now we're creating disease. So these essential oils I shared with you are going to help you to move through your emotions very well and very gracefully. I'm not going to do this video because the volume isn't working. So strengthening your influence. This is a pyramid. Definitely take a snapshot of this. I absolutely love this pyramid. My husband teaches this part. I'm just going to touch on it real quickly. This is from Nicholas Kusmich. He's one of the leading experts in Facebook ads. He gives you the most ROIs, but he works with very high-end people. He does have a course as well. But we learned this from him, and it's the pyramid of influence. So on the left side, it shows you what you're known for. And then on the right side, I'm sorry if you can't see it because of the picture, but it says how the market reacts to you, like how people react to you. So just an example, when you're starting out in doTERRA and you just signed up, you don't have a lot of experience in essential oils, you don't have experience in building a doTERRA business, but you share oils with your friend on the left, right? How does the market react? A lot of times you get ignored. I mean, I remember giving out so many samples to people in the very beginning and people definitely ignored me. But then when you're a generalist, you're known for what you know. More than likely, though, you're undervalued. Like when I was just a general massage therapist, I worked hard. I remember my first job, I was making like $25 an hour versus when I was in my private work with massage, I was making like $80 an hour, right? So you're undervalued for your work when you're a generalist. When you're a specialist, it's about who you know, who you're around, and then you become more requested. When you're an expert authority, an example of an expert authority would be like Jillian Michaels from The Biggest Loser. I gave that example. It's about what you say, and more than likely, you are highly booked. And then, I'm sorry, Jillian Michaels is a celebrity authority. My bad. She's a celebrity authority. She's demanded, and it's about where you are seen. Now, an icon is someone who, it's about who you are, you're known for who you are, and you set the rules. And I gave the example of Tony Robbins. He's definitely an icon, and he sets his own rules. And so the reason why I wanted to share this under the strengthening your influence is because as you move up the pyramid, you will notice that there is more confidence, more clarity, and more certainty. I am huge about confidence, clarity, and certainty. When you have those components and those components are very strong inside of you, then you have the ability to influence another person. The person who is shy, not sure, not clear what they're doing, they don't really believe in themselves. Are they going to cause other people to make very powerful decisions? When you are lacking that confidence and that belief, when you share a sample of essential oil with them, they're not going to be moved in any way. So sometimes, like when people complain, I share and I share and I share, but nobody is signing up, and I've given out 50 samples, but nobody wants to enroll with me. That's when I like to check in and see where their frequencies are at about their sense of self-worth and their confidence. So I want to teach you how to gain that clarity, that certainty, and that confidence that you need. So first thing, I love using Douglas fir and rosemary. Douglas fir is, we've done a lot of clearing work, by the way. So now this is going to be super nourishing. Things that help break patterns in your brain. Because by the way, your habits, those are neural pathways that have wired and fired together for a very long time. So copaiba is great at breaking those neural pathways. Lemongrass, I shared with you the lemongrass, the Siberian fir, and the cypress together. That is phenomenal at breaking destructive neural pathways. And so they will break and change and then create new ones. And that's what Douglas fir and rosemary are great at, is creating those new neural pathways. I know it says top of the head right here, but I really love putting it on my fingers, the tips of my fingers, and then rubbing it all throughout my scalp. It's super invigorating. Douglas fir, rosemary, so they're creating the new neural pathways that are empowering to you. So, for example, I'm more than enough. I am confident in who I am. I am certain in my mission and in my purpose. I love myself. People listen to me. So it will wire in whatever you need at that stage in your life. And I share a diffuser blend too. You can diffuse Douglas fir, eucalyptus, and lemon. Douglas fir, eucalyptus, and lemon, do 2 drops of each. That's a great combination to continually wire new neural pathways that are going to serve you. Okay. And then number 2, you're going to do wild orange and ginger on the solar plexus. So that's the core of your belly. Wild orange is the oil of abundance. So that helps you to have feelings of I'm more than enough. I'm capable. I have everything I need. I have all the resources that I need. I have all the people that I need. I have more than enough builders in doTERRA. I continually attract more builders in doTERRA. I have the best coach, or I'm going to find the right coach for me, the right mentor for me. Whatever it is, that wild orange is going to increase your confidence and your certainty. And then ginger, that's the oil of empowerment. Ginger makes you act, makes you move. This kills procrastination. So if I feel like I'm starting to slip or not, be productive in my activities, then I love to put lemon and ginger and Douglas fir in the diffuser. Just a couple drops each, and that is a nice kick in the pants. Like, that makes you get things done whether you like it or not, but you'll do it joyfully. So ginger adds that little pep in your step, and it is the greatest procrastinator's oil. Blue tansy has that feature too. I love blue tansy for that too. All right, and then the Wonder Woman pose. I was teaching this pose at the workshop. I'm not standing right now, but you can look up Wonder Woman pose or Superman pose. Whenever I feel uncertain, take a look at your posturing. When you're caved down, you're going to lose your confidence. But when you are standing up with your, chest up, doesn't have to be like extremely getting your boobs out there, but you want them up a little bit, right? And you will experience for 2 minutes. You hold that pose for 2 minutes. I put my hands on my hips, kind of like the picture of this woman here. Hold for 2 minutes, and you will see your confidence rising and your certainty rising. And it does decrease your cortisol levels by 25% when you stand in this pose. You could even lift your arms up too, like a warrior or prayer pose as well. So play around with that. I do the Wonder Woman pose all the time, especially before I go speak up on stage, for example. All right. This is, my husband wanted this one in here. So I'm just going to share a little story. Like, I absolutely can't stand McDonald's. It is my nemesis. And my husband likes McDonald's, and he'll go very infrequently just to piss me off. and he's like, but they know what they're doing, their marketing strategy, and it's a shitty product, but a lot of people buy it. And he's like, why don't we have that mission like them? Instead of, 1 billion people served with hamburgers, let's serve 1 billion people with our work. So whether it is in essential oils or it's in these tools with the kind of healing work that I do, we want to serve 1 billion people before we pass, and making sure that we can empower as many as possible. So, all right. Awesome. Well, I hope you all felt very empowered by this and equipped and knowing that you're not stuck in your situation. You're not a victim. This must be your timing that these tools are landing in your lap. I mean, it didn't come into my world until I was the age of 32. I think that's when it was. Yeah, around 32. I wish I had them a long time ago, but I guess that wasn't part of my journey. And that's okay. So now we have some answers here. And you are good to go. And now you can go live free and strong and accomplish whatever it is that you are destined to accomplish, because we all need you to live in your fullest expression, to live your art, to live out your purpose, because the world desperately needs more love, more talent, more art. We need more of that. So thank you so much for being here and listening to me for an hour and 40 minutes. My goodness. And then we'll go ahead and, let me go over. Yes, always be fabulously you. If you would like more information on what I do, you can go to DesireeMangandog.com. I am currently in the process of redoing my website, and I am in the middle of re-recording my courses. I have a course called the Wake Yourself course. I do have private sessions there. I have a workshop in Woodinville, Washington on January 20th. If you go on my website, all of my workshops are listed. So some of you may not be in the Northwest area. And you can go on my website, and I've got a bunch of workshops all from East Coast to West Coast until May 5th, because I will be too big after May 5th to be traveling around. So you can go to one near you. But my Wake Yourself course is a 12-module course, and it is phenomenal. You can go on the website and read about each of the 12 modules so that you can get a picture of what it's about and if it's something that works for you. Currently, the price is $4.95. Next month, when all the new recordings and the new website launches, it will go to $8.95. So that price point will only stay till the end of the month. And you have lifetime access to all of the modules, as well as ongoing support calls. So I do support calls with all the students and alumni twice a month, where we do a live Zoom call. And if you're feeling stuck at any moment, then we're going to go ahead and do work right there. It's basically a Q&A format. So you have access to me. All right. So I'm going to hand it over to Aisha.
Thank you, Desiree, so much. I'm all oiled up and feeling great. The office smells amazing. And I continue to learn so much from you, and I just appreciate you so much. So we're going to wrap this up. Would you go ahead and go to the next slide?
Okay.
So for any of you joining this webinar that are not members of doTERRA, we invite you to join us. And super simple, just reach out to the person that invited you to this webinar, and they can help you get started. Or if you've come to us through social media and you don't have a connection, please email us at info@essentialwellness.life. So super simple. Go ahead and go to the next slide.
Okay.
And I'm going to wrap up the recording here, and then we'll take a moment for questions. So give me just a moment.